Episode 36 of 84 Feet with Cady and Cap underway, doing things a little different this week. Last week we started with Jeff Molina from Empire State Takeover, giving us our opening week preview and our Thanksgiving weekend review. So we're switching things up this time around because look at that. Mr. Capitula is back. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Great. Sorry I missed last was it last week? I don't even know what today is. Sunday?
Week.
Week ago. So
it's all good. You know, schedules happen. You know, it's basketball season has started at in high school, so it's all good. You're not offending me by it. It's okay. It's all right. It's not a big deal. You know, I felt a little attacked having the Perry twins on here by myself, but that's okay. It's fine. Everything's fine.
They had a lot of good answers. At least they're good twins. Like they at least answered each other's questions right. You didn't have like a bad set of twins that just had absolutely no idea who the other one was. So that was good.
Yeah, they did that newlywed game thing pretty well. I was actually quite impressed that they knew each other as well as they did.
Yeah.
But you and I have a lot to get into because we haven't talked in a few weeks now because of Thanksgiving, and then last week we've got a few kids who have made their college commitments, injury news we got to discuss. We got a Section 2 kid that reached 1,000 career points in college over the past week. We got a bunch of stuff to touch on, but we'll get into all that after we catch up with our two guests for the week. We are headed out to Class B. We've been around Class B, Class C. We've been visiting those territories a lot recently, but when you go out and perform the way you do opening week of the season, like these two young ladies that are joining us, the way they put on a show, going 2-0 in opening week of Section 2 play, you follow the good production. We're going out to Coxsackie-Athens, the Riverhawks. Yeah, baby. We are joined by a junior and a sophomore, 5'10" sophomore Reaghan Hellen and 5'9" junior Baileigh Briski. Ladies, first off, thank you for joining us on a Sunday evening. But you know, we're fitting in interviews whatever we can when we're in season. So I appreciate you sacrificing your time tonight. How are you both doing?
Good.
I'm good.
Well, first things first, one of the first things I like to ask is, you know, obviously you're on here for a basketball podcast, but especially being in a small classification school that doesn't necessarily have the depth of enrollment as, say, a AA or AAA school, that typically means a lot of multi-sport athletes coming on this show from classes B, C, and D. So, Baileigh, I'll start with you. Growing up, was basketball always the first love, and are there any other sports that you're participating in while you're in high school?
Yeah, I think basketball definitely was like my first love, like sport-wise. Like it was just my favorite, and I was always so tall, so people were always like, "Oh, you play basketball? Like you have to play basketball when you're younger," and it kind of stuck with me. So, and yeah, I do cross country in the fall and track in the spring.
Reaghan, what about you? What else are you excelling at Coxsackie-Athens?
I played track last year. I did track last year for like half of the season, but I just stuck with basketball. I play that like outside of school like year round. So
that's very good. Now you guys obviously off to a really good start. And we'll get into like the season going forward, but obviously you guys have been through practice. I think we were counting the days today. It's about 20 days into practice, or 20 something days. How do you feel your team has taken, like this year, playing 2 games already? Do you feel like overall your team has come together this early in the season?
Yeah, I feel like we're definitely clicking. 20 days in the practice and whatnot. The chemistry is like really building with everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think our returners are like helping the new varsity players, and I think we're playing really good together.
And has there been anything like really big focus? Anything that like coach has really pushed like in the preseason and now like into season? Are you guys gonna like? What do you think are your identity so far? Like, is it going to be a defensive identity? Is it going to be, listen, we're going to score as many points as we can, and the other team's going to have to stop us?
Yeah, definitely more defense. We're gonna try to be like the best defensive team out there, just because defense creates offense, like right off the dribble. And we're just a fast team. Like me and Reagan up top, like we just run the floor. So easy layups, transition layups.
Yeah, coach always talks about that, how defense turns into offense, and I think we just run teams off the court.
Now, getting a look at things AAU wise. First off, I'll ask this to Regan. You play with Vibes, and that means you gotta unfortunately deal with Tay Fisher and Eric Flutie, which bless your soul. I'm just kidding. They're good guys. But overall, how have you enjoyed yourself with Vibes, and what do you think has been the most help with you, as far as, is there a specific skill they've helped you the most with? Is it just a confidence thing they've helped you the most with? What's been the biggest growth for you since working out with Vibes?
I think that Vibes has built my confidence with like dribbling the ball and like scoring off the dribble.
And then Baileigh, you were on a pretty loaded squad with Havoc this past spring. Let me roll this roster down real quick, just so people understand what I mean by loaded. Aside from you, Maya Parker from Shen, Olivia Hoffman from Colony, Jayla Jeter from Shaker, Tegan Keene, who was at Burn Hills and is now at Huzak, Ella Tremarkey from Colony, Akari Cady from Catholic Central, and Nayla Miley. Like, okay, sure, that's a squad and a half. But at the same time, there's one basketball. How did you find it almost like a challenge in a way to, just finding ways to be part of the game if you weren't necessarily, getting the ball the way you wanted to or as much as you wanted to, or, was everybody basically on the same page? Because, T-Flow, got to, keep things straight, everybody on the same page for the most part.
Yeah, we were a good team. We had good chemistry. Like we always after our tournaments, we always went out and whatnot. But yeah, we were good though. We passed the ball well, found those open shots and whatnot and lanes. But if someone didn't get the ball, we just crashed the rebounds, kicked it out. Everyone got a touch on it. But T-Flow was definitely straight to the point and very go, 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 so. It was definitely an adjustment, but
now playing on a team like that all year, obviously practices, you're challenging yourself against really good players in practice too. Do you feel like that helped you? Anything new that you took from that, from over the long season of AAU, that you feel like you've brought to this season so far?
Oh, definitely a lot of confidence, because the people in AAU are extremely just more athletic and whatnot from AAU.
Sure.
And people in practices are just so much more intense. So bringing over to the school season kind of slows things down, but it definitely builds my confidence, and I put more moves into my game. And it makes it just an adjustment, but almost an easier adjustment, but still hard.
And I think sometimes that you worked on something, so I worked on it, you didn't, kind of thing. I'm going to be better than you. That helps too for confidence wise. But
yeah, exactly.
Now, either one you can answer this first, but in terms of what you guys do athletically, how do you manage? I guess it's a tough schedule, and you guys obviously have to go through it every day. But what's the hardest part of managing your schoolwork and your athletic? During basketball season, it's 5-6 days a week. How do you guys go about handling that kind of balance?
It's difficult, but especially during the springtime, especially with track, that's 2 sports every day. It's difficult, but there's not really a lot of time for hang out with, I guess, friends and whatnot, out of AAU, because I don't go to school with any of them, so it's not I know them outside of AAU. So it's definitely difficult, schoolwork, I try to get it all done in my study halls. I'm pretty jam-packed in the spring because I have like no time. But
Yeah, I think you just have to like use your time wisely and get it done as like soon as you can, rather than later.
Sure.
Now, Regan, just wanted to focus in on you for a second here because I know that you first came on my radar a couple months ago, actually, because of the rave review that you got coming out of the 518 Superior Showcase in Colony. I think that was back in like mid to late September, if I remember correctly. What was it about that event that brought out so much out of you, and how much did getting the kind of review that you got coming out of that event, how much did that help with you confidence wise as you were about to maintain your training and get ready for your upcoming your upcoming season?
I think that like since I was on such a ninth grade team for AAU, there wasn't usually like college coaches really at the games that much. So at the showcase, when there were, I just really tried to like play my best, and the review it brought like the confidence that I needed to go into the rest of the summer and then preseason for school basketball.
And then the quick question I have for Baileigh. So I did a little digging just now in the midst of the conversation you were having with Cap. And I'm finding out random little things once in a while during interviews. Are you really cousins with Janae Brantley?
yeah,
Like how does that tree work? Like
so my grandmother is sisters with Janae's grandmother. So that's my aunt. Like my aunt is Janae's grandmother.
okay, all right. So
We're pretty close. We're not like super close, but like she comes like Christmas and like Thanksgiving. Not Thanksgiving, but she comes like Christmas and like Easter and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
So obviously some interesting shoe. Anybody is the Brantley side of the family like kind of like, well, Janae did this, so let's see what Baileigh can do. Like any pressure at all from them? Because Janae had was doing her thing. Went through Catskill, now at Stony Brook. One of her brothers, put in his work at Utica, and they won a conference title his senior year. Like any undue pressure being put on you at all, or is it all being out of respect?
Yeah, it's out of respect. They put pressure on me, but just like good pressure. Like they want me to excel, and they never really like compare me. So it's because she's so much older than me. So, but it's all good because they're like just want the best for me.
Now you guys have played 2 games so far. You played Cobleskill, your first game of the year, who just moved to the WAC conference. Then you played Waterville as well. The Waterville game, that was a game. That was a home game, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think I saw a post from your school or a post from the school district. You guys had a pretty good crowd for that game, right?
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Is that something that's a common thing for you guys, like in terms of community support, or is that something like they're trying to push to get more people in the gym?
It was a game at 1, so all the students had to like really go to our game, but we usually get a crowd, but not that much. That was like a lot.
Yeah, that was insane. Couldn't hear anything.
And what was it like playing in that environment? Was that a fun like environment to play in, like in front of your peers?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was just so loud and so much energy. And like you obviously like are a little bit more nervous because it's literally all of your classmates there. And we're a small school, so it's like everyone knows everyone. So.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. If I remember, it was like called like a Spirit Day game or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Cap, those 11 a.m. college games you love and admire from Albany and Siena camp games on like Martin Luther King weekend usually is when they do it. Yeah. That's probably what it sounded like, just to give you a heads up.
A lot of screaming. It's a lot of like the third through 5th grade kids are there. They just scream. They throw like Baby Shark on, and everyone starts singing Baby Shark.
It's crazy.
Ask me about the 10:30 a.m. baseball game for a camp day that I did this past summer. Let's just say I was wearing headphones the whole time.
I bet.
But speaking about your school and the squad, which I wanted to ask you about Coach Wodarczyk, the head coach for the Riverhawks. I'll start with Baileigh on this one. Just talk about what it's like to play under coach, and you mentioned the defense being the focus this particular season. Just talk in general about how she imparts confidence in the team, and and what she's been able to teach during your time at Coxsackie-Athens.
Yeah, she definitely definitely tells us confidence is always key, and just keep shooting. If you're obviously missing a bunch, don't just keep chucking them up, but if you have a good shot, keep shooting. Keep going for those layups, go for the boards. She always says crash the boards every time, because it's a putback and one every time, especially down low. But she's been a good coach. I mean, playing under her she's good, so it's easy to impress her kind of. So we always try to the whole team, and we always just want to be better and better for her, because she's not young, but she's is kind of younger. So it's I don't know, it just is easier, I guess, kind of. Not easier, but I don't know, good coach.
Reaghan, what are your thoughts and opinions of playing under coach?
Yeah, I think she's a good coach. She always tries to set the tone for the game and sends us motivational things through our group chat, and makes us have as much team bonding as we can. And yeah, I think she's a good coach.
Now, Reaghan, you can answer this first. I don't know if there's any kind of weird weird answers that you don't want to share. You don't have to, but any kind of pregame locker room or pregame routines that you have of any sort that you've that you bring into this season. I always had one. It's surprisingly a lot of kids don't have one, but do you have any kind of pregame routines that you'll go through?
No, I don't think I really do. I don't know. I always just try to stay focused before the game, but not really, no.
How about you, Baileigh?
Yeah, I kind of have one. It's I tie my shoes really tight, super tight, and when everyone kind of leaves, I kind of go back in the locker room, and I just look in the mirror, and I'm just you're good, just calm down, just the game, you got you're good.
You have me intrigued, Cap. I want to know what your pregame ritual was.
Yeah, so it was wild. So we'd get out of school, I'd go home. By the time I got home, my grandmother, who I lived with at the time for high school, would make ramen noodles, the cheap ramen noodles. I'd eat ramen noodles. I'd take a 45-minute nap. Then I would wake up and take a Pepto-Bismol tablet. Because you get nervous, your stomach gets kind of bubbly as the games go. So you're I'll take this, and then I would head right to the gym. That happened for 2.5 years straight.
That's some psycho behavior. I hope you realize that now as a coach. That's psycho behavior.
Yeah, it was every week, every game.
Hey, I saw.
Baileigh, Reaghan, either of you want to chime in on that crazy?
Oh yeah, that's crazy. I could never do that. I'd be sick after the ramen noodles. I don't know. I couldn't.
Well, I guess hence the Pepto, but still, that's Cap. Oh man,
Listen, kids now they'll go eat. I see what some of my kids we have to basically make sure they eat the right way. There's people they're eating weird food before a game. You're you got a game in 2 hours. You can't eat that. So at least ramen noodles wasn't. It was just noodles.
What you're not a fan of them going and grabbing a pizza from the fountain on the street or anything?
Go get a hamburger and a burrito and eat it an hour before the game? No.
Well, I mean, you do have a couple of your players that are addicted to Chipotle, so you might have a choice on that one. Anyways, let's focus back on the people that we have on the show. I want to ask each of you about the different competition that's laid out in front of you in Class B and in your conference. Reaghan, I'll come to you first, just specifically about the Patroon Conference, because it's an interesting mix of B's and C's between yourselves, Catskill, Greenville, Maple Hill. Catskill obviously is Coach Quinn. They're off to an interesting start. Greenville now has a new head coach with Bobby Shields out of Cap City Scrappers. At Maple Hill, considered a challenger in Class C this year, with Addy Lazinski on the squad for him. All in all, what do you make of the competition that you're going to be facing in the conference this year? Obviously, you've already had 2 games with Kobe and with Waterville, but all in all, what do you make of the competition going forward this season?
I think that Maple Hill and Greenville will be a good game, but I honestly think we can beat them, especially Maple Hill, because we played them a lot of times last year, and they only beat us the first time by only like a couple points. So when we play them on Tuesday, I think we could win that game.
All right, a lot of confidence. I like to hear that. Baileigh, I want to ask you specifically about just Class B in general, because I know Cap and I have discussed it a few times. I discussed it last week with Jeff Moliner from Empire State Takeover, and we all pretty much feel the same way. We feel like Class B is extremely wide open this year. I mean, obviously, Mechanicville, they're coming back from making the sectional finals last year, but really, we're all the opinion that like 6, 8, 10 different teams, including yours, could be there at the end, walking away with the Section 2 title. Has that been discussed at all with the squad, and how do you feel personally about the way your team looks in the landscape of Class B?
Yeah, since Albany Academy moved out of Class B, I feel like it's definitely way more open now. And Mechanicville played Greenville like a couple days ago, and Mechanicville won by only like a little bit, like not like a lot. So that's definitely like surprising. Greenville did lose some seniors last year, so I feel like they're gonna be like a beatable team. But having Mechanicville and Greenville play and it being like pretty close, I feel like it really just makes us have our team just have more confidence in all. But I think it's definitely open for grabs because Mechanicville is going to be like, I feel like one of the better teams that we'll have to beat. Mm-hmm. And we kind of talked about it, not a bunch. We're kind of just focused on what's in front of us first. But I think it's definitely a possibility that we could be one of those teams.
No, obviously, I'll ask Baileigh this first, but I think I might know her answer, but who knows? Is there one person that either has motivated you to continue playing basketball, or someone that supports you every game and at every game that kind of keeps you going and keeps you wanting to play basketball?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's a hard question. Definitely is like my grandfather, my grandmother, my dad, and my mom. They definitely like keep me like controlled, like calmed down. But yeah, I think just my family in general, just like everyone, like they just want like everyone in my family, really.
Anything from you, like anybody that either motivates you to continue going, or you can have like a talk with after the game's over if you have a tough game or if you have a really good game, either way?
Yeah, I think my mom is one of my biggest supporters. She tries to go to like as much games as she can, and she always talks to me before and after the games. Like just, I don't know, she's always just been my biggest supporter.
All right, so to wrap up the interview, got 2 things we're going to do. We're going to get to, I have a mystery quote for each of you, and I want you to try to guess who said that about you. We'll get to that in a second. And then we have a section called Life's Most Important Questions. I promise are not actually life's most important questions. No need to worry about those. But before I get into those 2 things, I have to ask, Baileigh, why the lime green?
The lime, because before my room was like kind of like not a dark green, but like an older like green, I guess, like old-fashioned green. And then I wanted to change it, so then I made it this color because I was like feeling like whatever, like let me just do it. Just a bright color. And I was like, might as well do it. It's just a color of my room. It's like not a big deal. So I just picked green.
It's kind of wicked of you.
Yeah, it's just like a bright, fun color. Like I feel like it's just like.
Just make a dad joke. He just made a dad joke. You missed.
What'd he say?
It's kind of wicked. Have you seen Wicked yet?
No, I'm going to see it though.
Okay, well, Alpha Buzz green, and that's why he's. He's the worst.
We're not even going to talk about your dad jokes. Don't even start. Don't start, Cap. All right. So I have a quote from a mystery person for each of you. I'm going to start with Reaghan on this. I'm going to read the quote, and I want you to guess who said this about you. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. This person said, quote, Reaghan has really started to take off over the last year. She's in the gym all the time, truly has developed that gym rat mentality, has a calm presence on the court, never gets too high or too low. Her size and skill set allow her to play multiple positions, which she continues to develop and work on. Great teammate and player you want as a coach. She'll always do what's asked of her and give her best effort. Who said that about you?
Oh, my mind is like blanking.
Well, I'll give you a hint. Think about AAU.
Hey, Fisher?
No. Close.
Eric?
Eric Flutie is correct. Yes, that's who said that about you.
All right.
Miss Briski. Quote, really good athlete, smooth player, looks effortless, jumps out of the gym, good three-point shooter, good defender. Sometimes people like her to be a little more aggressive to the rim because of her athleticism. Good kid overall. Who said that about you?
Terrence?
No, not Terrence.
Steve?
No, not Steve.
I don't know.
If I give you his nickname, it might give it away because it fits his personality. I call him the mayor.
The mayor. Give me another hint.
Dwaynesburg.
I don't know.
Ryan Moses.
Oh my God.
But you understand what I mean by the mayor now? You
Yeah.
Hands kissing babies, having a laugh.
Yeah, I got you now.
Nice. He'll forever be the mayor to me. I can't help it. Although I don't know, Jeff Moliner might be growing as he might be the governor and Ryan's the mayor. I don't know. We'll find that out. All right. So now we get to life's most important questions. Like I said, though, they're not really life's most important questions. Basically, just quick hitting questions. You give me the first answer that comes to mind. For each question, I'll get Reaghan to answer first, and then we'll get Baileigh, and then we'll move to the next question. Y'all ready?
Yes.
All right. Question number 1. Reaghan, when it comes to desserts, are you a chocolate fan or a vanilla fan?
Vanilla.
Vanilla.
Wow, two vanilla. Okay. It's not often we get both people to say vanilla. Okay. All right. When it comes to energy drinks or refreshment drinks, whatever it may be, are we Team Gatorade, Team Powerade, or is there a different energy supplement?
Gatorade.
Gator Light.
You say Gatorade Light?
Yeah.
A particular color you either of you prefer?
Purple.
Not really, no. I don't really drink them a lot.
Okay. All right. Best flavor of Starburst.
The pink ones.
Yellow.
Baileigh Briski. I knew I liked you.
She said vanilla and yellow. You're 1 for 3 right now on these.
Oh, yellow's the best color. Like, it's so good.
Baileigh, you said I'm your best friend here. You're good.
Yeah.
If you could pick one player from your school team or AAU that should never be allowed to use the aux cord for warm-up music, who is it and why?
We all know.
Wait, what'd you say?
We all know who.
Who?
One player from either your school team or AAU that should never be in charge of the aux cord.
Baileigh Briski.
Aubrey Adamo.
All right. First off, let's address Reaghan here. Why'd you say Baileigh?
I was just joking, but I don't really know.
Okay. All right.
She's on aux now.
Why are we saying Aubrey?
Because like she listens to like Suicide Boys, like not good music. It does not get us hyped for the game, so she's never allowed on Ox.
Okay, all right. I know Cap recently had an interesting issue with his team and music. Well, we might have to get into that after the interview. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Very good. Good answers. Good answers. Favorite cheat meal?
I don't know.
Pizza.
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. All right. All right. What's your go? What is there a certain specific you like from Taco Bell?
The potato thing, the potato tacos.
The potato tacos. All right. I have not tried those yet. All right. Okay. Keep that in mind. Favorite opponent to face?
Like a person?
Person, team, whoever you want to say.
I don't know.
Maple Hill.
Is this like a team that like makes you work harder and it's not just like a blowout?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Final question. If you were on a deserted island, what two people are you putting your trust in to get you off the island?
Which two people?
Yes. It's gotta
Like
be people you. It's gotta be people you know, not like you can't pick George Washington. It has to be people you know.
Probably my brothers.
Okay. All right. Baileigh, who we picking?
My dad and my grandfather probably.
All right. All right. Very good. Well, I have to say, Baileigh Reaghan, it's been a pleasure having you on. Obviously you're off to a hot start with the season, going 2-0. So obviously we Cap and I, we wish you the best of luck the rest of the way. Good luck, and hopefully I'll get to see you guys at Hudson Valley down the road when I'm announcing semis and finals. So let's go Riverhawks. Good luck. Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. That was Baileigh Briski Reaghan Hellen, sophomore and junior from Coxsackie-Athens. Like I mentioned, off to a good start. Reaghan dropped a 30-piece McNugget opening night against Kobe.
Yep.
And then they took care of business in their second game, their first home game, which was against Watervliet. So, yeah, it's a team that definitely, as far as the mix for Class B, you like to get off to a good start and making a good first impression for the rest of the Patroon Conference and the rest of Class B to get a look at. And those two and the Riverhawks in general have certainly done that so far.
Yeah, the crazy part again about these people that make whatever's more important than us, athletic directors, whoever makes schedules. They have Maple Hill playing Coxsackie-Athens game 1 of the season. That does make no sense for me. But in terms of same thing with us last year, we played Catholic High game 1 of the Colonial Council season. Well, you're putting maybe your two best teams against each other in the very first game of the year in the league, and then they won't see each other till the end of the season. So I don't love that, but that game's Tuesday. So if you're a basketball fan, I would try to get to that game on Tuesday. Of all the games that are going on, that would be one that I'd want to go watch.
Yeah, I mean, in general, just to throw out a few different ones as well. I know that there's 2 other really good matchups on Tuesday in the Suburban. There's AP taking on Shaker at Shaker, and Columbia is visiting Bethlehem. Both of which Columbia and Bethlehem off to some struggles the first week or two, but both of them kind of look to right the ship now that they're actually going to be in conference play. Also, Mechanicville and Greenville with a midweek matchup on Wednesday, and Stillwater Guilderland coming up on Friday. So yeah, that's that. Some news and notes to get into. First off, congrats to Anna Jankovic, AP grad, senior at Deauville, reached 1,000 career college points this past week. So yeah, it's always good to see Section 2 well represented and continue to do great stuff at the next level. And and is just one of many from that AP program putting in the work. I know Taylor Holohan's been starting at Northeastern as a freshman. Amelia Wood's doing Amelia Wood things at Sacred Heart in her junior year. Michelina Lombardi doing, Michelina things. I mean, it's AP grads. I mean, they do what they. Oh, and Tatiana Toon got Rookie of the Week in her conference out at Suffolk, Boston. So, like,
yep.
What else is new? It's AP doing AP.
Right. No, it's really, really, like we said before, like the Section 2 talent has gone to the college levels too, at all levels, not just Division I level, but they're performing on all the levels. So it's really, it's been great to see.
Other things over the last few weeks. Two particular commitments that caught my eye. Don't think I saw any others per se that were really announced, but I'll go back and take a harder look at it afterwards. Two D3 commitments. Jessica Bowens from Boston Spa. She announced her commitment to the Hawks of Hartwick, so she'll be joining. Sydney Delisle out there from Shen under Coach Lombard. A former assistant at RPI, who's now the head coach out there. And Molly Russum, senior from Broad Albin Perth, coach's daughter. She committed to Fairleigh Dickinson University at Florham, another D3 school. So congrats to both of them. I was interested to see where Jessica decided, because I know she put in some good work at the 518 Select Showcase 3 months ago. So very good to see that she landed at Hartwick, and she's decided to stay relatively close to home, and then Molly getting that commitment over at FDU at Florham. And
Molly's a really good soccer player too. I think that was a sport she was always good at too. That I remember when I would see her play, she was a good soccer kid too. So it's just the leagues that we have around here for the Division III, the SUNYAC and those kind of leagues. Like the quality of level of basketball and player that are in those leagues is really good. Like Cortland, Ithaca, all those guys. Like the amount of players that are on those teams that are from this area and from this region anyway. There's a ton.
And even just look at the Liberty League too, like Skidmore, RPI, Union.
Yep.
Always good chunk of Section 2 players in there as well.
Yep.
Other pieces I want to discuss real quick before I get into how I want to wrap up the show. And this is something you could speak to in a little bit of detail if you want. So during the Thanksgiving break, I was doing the Pep Sand Tip-Off Classic at Colony, and much to my surprise, Gabriella DeBacco, junior Catholic Central, was not suiting up for what was the first of 2 games for Catholic Central that weekend. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. She didn't have any walking boot, brace. She wasn't wrapped in ace bandage. She was just regular street clothes with her basketball jersey on. I'm like, kind of weird. Come to find out, she unfortunately tore her ACL at the end of soccer season in the fall.
Jeez.
Is having surgery sometime in the next week or two. We're recording this on Sunday, the 8th of December. So I think surgery is like sometime like in the next 10 days, if I remember correctly. And she's officially obviously out for hoop season this year. Depending on how rehab is going, I'm assuming she'll probably also miss all of her AAU season from her junior year coming up. Probably wouldn't, depending on how bad the tear is. I mean, we're talking probably not able to be at 100% running, doing change of direction. I would assume mid to late summer, maybe, if my timeline's correct.
Sure.
Maybe as early as June, but like that would be maybe rushing things a little bit.
Sure.
Obviously, Gabby well from Catholic Central, being in the Colonial Council. You play them twice a year at Academy. Just your thoughts overall about the injury and how you think that's going to impact Catholic Central through the year.
Yeah, she was never fun, like, to have to play against. It disrupts everything that you want to do. She's in your face. She never backs down. And she just has a really good IQ of, like, just basketball IQ. And she uses her size that she has that you would never know. Like, she uses her body well and uses her size well. But Obviously they'll figure it out. Like they played 2 really good games in that tournament, and they played a game yesterday as well, and we're right in the game again. So they lose her, but I think they'll pick it up. Someone else, I know, like the Maya Rodriguez will kind of jump into that spot a little bit more. That maybe would have been filled, but the defensive stopper, obviously it's tough to lose someone like that, but I think she'll be on the bench cheering just like she would be if she was on the court. So it stinks for her, but I'm sure if there's anybody that can kind of rehab and be back to normal, it's somebody like that. So
yeah, and what's interesting, because I got talking about this with Jeff Moliner last week on the show. Didn't get a chance to talk to you about it, but being able to see those games at Colony that weekend, you had Shaker wound up taking on Catholic Central and Cardinal O'Hara that weekend, while Colony got the other game against Catholic Central, and then they played Cardinal O'Hara as well.
Yep.
But look at those 2 games for Catholic Central against Shaker and Colony. Came away with a few opinions from that. First off, Amelia Rodriguez, like you mentioned, just a real good energy player, real good defender. She's able to give you a couple buckets, can shoot from the outside like Ella. So, I feel like she's kind of like, it's almost like trading Ella off for it's not that much difference, honestly. I think Ella has a little more natural aggression to her game, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in the nicest way possible. She has a little more aggression to her game, particularly in the defensive end than Rodriguez. But as far as talent level, I feel like it's pretty similar. So obviously, you never want to see someone go down to injury, but be able to go from somebody like Ella to Rodriguez, it almost pretty much cancels each other out, I feel like. So I like what I saw from Amia. Akari Gatti just continues to blossom, I feel like. Slap the body, down low, getting boards, posting up, even stepping out, doing 12 to 15-foot jumpers on occasion. If she can keep doing that, that just takes even more pressure off of Foglia and Navi Turpin and just helps that squad produce even more. So, and El Dior, obviously. So, yeah, they're going to be a very interesting I feel like now they're a wild card because of this, in a way, as they're now in AA this year. So,
sure.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see what this squad does. If they stay healthy, who knows at this point? There's yeah, so we'll leave it at that. Now, I warned Cap about this. So, to preface the way the show's about to end, for those of you who don't know me all that well and only know me specifically from here and maybe from the PA announcing I've been doing in recent years, I have a sports talk radio background. And for the first time ever, you might see a side of me you don't love per se, but you're going to understand why I get, we'll call it a righteous indignation is what's about to happen. And this is stuff that Cap and I have discussed before behind the scenes, just haven't brought to the forefront on this show before. But I feel like it's stuff it's been kind of like a snowball coming down the hill. The more it comes down the hill, the more snow it takes on, the more debris it brings in, and just becomes almost like an avalanche. And I feel like that's where we're getting with a few things in Section 2. So I feel like now is a proper time to address these things in some shape, way, or form. And in a way, they kind of all connect to each other in a weird way. Three of the things at least connect to each other, and then one really big, all-encompassing New York State thing that I want to bring up. So I'm just going to dive into it. And Cap, you have every right to jump in and stop me at any point if you disagree or you want to get a word in edgewise. But if you're ready, I'm ready. So I'm going to let it roll. You okay with this?
Yep, good.
All right. Now, just remember, you just said okay. You're good. So
good for now. I'm reading an article too, so I'm good.
So I will preface it one more other thing. I don't like any potentially questionable language on the show, generally speaking. There is a chance, though, I may slip once or twice and say either the A word or another word for when you use the bathroom. So if you don't like those words or having people around you listening to this show hearing those words, I'm going to give you a couple seconds now, clear the room, or try to skip ahead to the last thing that Cap and I are going to talk about, because these are pressing issues that not necessarily for me, but I'm getting angry about it for the people in the communities that have to deal with this crap. So I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. In the meantime, I'll ask real quick, what's the backwards hat today for this episode?
Milwaukee Bucks.
Milwaukee. All right. Repping Andre. I appreciate that. I'll always appreciate it. Although I think they just lost to the Celtics a couple nights ago, didn't they?
Did, yeah.
So my wife was definitely torn about it. She's like,
no,
go ahead.
That's in the starting lineup now, so it's fun to watch.
Yeah. And my wife was definitely torn up about it because she's a Celtics fan, but obviously
right.
Andre's family. So it's like, it was one of those things where she was like, yay, Jason Tatum, but was also like, go Andre. Is kind of weird, not gonna lie.
Sacramento Kings and Bucks stuff in my house. Who would have ever thought in upstate New York?
Well, I know what the Sac King stuff is for. It's for one of the 19 herder kids. Just kidding. There's only 4 of them. I don't think Tom would have been able to handle more than 4.
No, we're good.
Okay. All right. So hey, as long as you think I'm right, okay, that's good. All right. Let me get into it. So let me get into the 3-step connection that I have here. And it starts with the issue of nickname changes or mascot changes, whatever you want to call it. So Cambridge tried, lost, swallowed their pride, and now they've shut up. Glens Falls didn't put up much of a fuss. Averill Park didn't put up a fuss.
Right.
Coxsackie-Athens didn't put up a fuss. Schoharie didn't put up a fuss. I mean, I could keep going here. But apparently, we are completely indecisive when it comes to the town of Niskayuna or village, whatever the hell you are. Pick a lane is where I'm starting first off. Pick a damn lane. Either change the name and shut up, or don't change the name and stick with this rumored lawsuit that I guess they're filing against the state of Department of Education that I just heard about at the Colony tournament a week and a half ago. And commit to that lawsuit 100%. Otherwise, don't just keep quiet. And if I lived in Niskayuna, I'd be frustrated at this point because it's like, again, it comes down to the phrase, pick a lane. Like, don't say you're going to do one thing and then 2 months later say, screw it, we're going to go this way. You're more indecisive than a political candidate that can't decide which way they want to vote on a bill. Like, figure it out. And really, this all comes down to a second thing that's wrong with Niskayuna. You can't even figure out if you want your AD or not. Like, and this is where we're going to go to the next school, too. Figure it out. Okay? You have an athletic program that has a potentially really good boys basketball team that's defending their Section 2 title this year with Mike Grosso. You just hired a new girls varsity head coach in Lindsay Steenland, who I believe in just from seeing what she was doing with Mohanison on the boys' side a few years ago, who you brought in my opinion, purposefully to learn under Sarah Neely last year to learn about the players in the program, and then you promoted her. So you got that going for you. Mike Vorgang is a god when it comes to boys lacrosse in Section 2 in New York State. I don't know what much more you want.
Their football team has been incredible for the last 4 years.
Right. And if your problem is with football because CBA Albany made it to the last second of the state title game last night and lost on a Hail Mary, that's a you problem, Niskayuna. That's not a community problem. So I don't know what to tell you. So again, I come back to the same 3-word phrase. Pick a lane. Okay? You're obviously not crying poor, to be quite frank. Let's just put that out there. You're not a school district that's crying poor at this point. So figure it out. Which brings me to another school district I don't think is crying poor, but has the same kind of issues going on from an administrative point of view. Scotia-Glenville, what the hell? You have coaches that don't have the proper certifications. You have then other coaches who want nothing to do with you as a school district. You have an athletic director who some people are petitioning to have outed,
Right.
and other people are signing a petition to keep. So now we go from people in the district not knowing what they want to people in the district and living in the district not knowing what they want. Like, you want to talk about, if you've seen the movie Idiocracy, you understand why I'm calling Scotia-Glenville Idiocracy. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and I'm sure the AD is thinking the same exact thing. Like, I'm sure this isn't something he hasn't thought of before. Like, is my key card going to work tomorrow? And can I scan in okay? Because I feel like your AD doesn't even have a clue what's going on at this point. And I feel bad for Dom Lamorta, who chose to go back to his alma mater as an assistant coach for the boys varsity program this year, because he don't deserve to be living through this crap at his alma mater the last 3 months. And he's doing an amazing job. He's got the Shot Spot School in Saratoga going for him. He's got the different level academy. He's got the AAU program that's launching this coming spring. Like, he doesn't need this crap right now. And that's all he's been dealing with in his ears the last 3 months.
Even Coach Crystal. Coach Crystal took over the boys varsity job now. He's got a softball playing daughter that's a basketball player too, but he took the boys program now. Like,
it's wild. It's absolutely wild in that district. And I'm gonna be frank. I'm not gonna name names, but Cap, you know exactly who I'm referring to. You wonder why you're having some of your really good and committed families to your athletic programs leaving the district. Like, it's not a mystery. You are incredibly inept at the top in that district right now that has no clue what they're doing. Not a clue. And I'm sure, Cap, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. Like, he has a daughter who has been blossoming under your direction the last couple of years. And there's no reason that she could have done the same thing at Scotia. Not trying to take credit away from you, Cap. I'm just saying. Like, she's got the mentality where she wants to put in the work. She's not like a kid who plays 3 sports and has got her head split 3 different ways. She wants this. And y'all lost that 2-3 years ago because y'all don't have your head on straight. And your girls' basketball program has been dangling in the wind, basically, in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, that's for y'all to figure out on an administrative side. And then the last thing I want to bring up. If some of you who know me really well, you're going to get shocked by this. I want to apologize to Roger Weiland. Now, Cap is probably ready to lose his mind that I just said that. But I really mean it. Because as much as I, let's just say, don't have a loving relationship, I don't have a breeding friendship with Roger. This guy, from everything I've learned in the last 3 weeks plus, this guy, a week before Thanksgiving, was reporting, actually, no, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, this was Thursday the 14th, he put this out, was reporting that he had insight that Chris Coleman was losing his job as athletic director at Shenandoah High School. For the last 3.5 weeks since making that report, this was only done on Twitter, by the way. Right. This wasn't something he put on his radio show, to my knowledge. This wasn't something they did a report on during Big Board Sports on News Channel 13, nor did he have Crystal Stone do the report on this. But he put a tweet out on this saying that, according to sources, in fact, I'll pull up the picture of the tweet right now because it's on my phone. I just put this out like a day or two ago. Yeah, per sources, Chris Coleman out as director of athletics at Shenandoah, 3:32 p.m. November 14th. I have the tweet right here. Okay. 3.5 weeks since he put out that tweet. Do you know how many people have confirmed this story to support Roger so he doesn't look like a complete imbecile? I'll give you a hint. It's somewhere between 0, zilch, and nada. Not a soul from anywhere in the Shenandoah School District has verified that news from Roger Weiland. Yet, through our own sources, and by our own, I'm going to be quite frank and put it out there, Cap knows people. We're not going to say who, but he knows people. Coleman's been out for a while now. Yet, we're playing hush-hush like this is a game of Clue. We got to figure out who fired Coleman, what weapon they used, and what room they did it in. It was the superintendent with the candlestick in the library. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if this was a superintendent decision, if this was a school board decision, if this was a protest from athletes or coaches working under him.
Right. Something at this point would come out. Just something like it. And obviously it's an employment situation, so you're not releasing, but like
right. I'm not saying you have to break an NDA to support Roger and provide, provide a confirmation to his news, but give us something. If it's just a press release saying that, yes, he's no longer employed, here's our interim AD until we do a full search to fill the position. Just say that. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't be a grandiose 3-page press release. Just put together a paragraph. That's what you gotta do. And what do we get? Radio silence. In any of these situations, am I speaking out of bounds at all? Am I asking for too much from any of these 3 school districts at all?
No, I mean, the big thing, the mascot thing, I mean, that's already been tried downstate. Like, that got thrown out. That's why a lot of those downstate teams in Long Island.
Oh, Cambridge went to court on it, and they lost.
Right, they tried it. Like, the Long Island team tried it, too, and it just got – they want to stay the Warriors. I saw that in Niskuna. They want to stay the Warriors, but they're okay with eliminating everything around any kind of indigenous people, anything like that, but they'll stay the Warriors. I just don't know how you make that transition over like you stay the Warriors, but
good luck.
And I get it. Like, people are, I see all the posts people put up, like always a Silver Warrior or always so-and-so, whatever school had to change their name. Like, that's great. You can always be that still.
Right.
No one's telling you that's gone now. Like, you can still, you have a Letterman jacket. It's still, you don't have to take your letter off the jacket and change the mascot on it. Like I'll give you 2 perfect examples real quick. See, I can go after someone, but also compliment them within the same show. Shenandoah. I mean, granted, it took a yearbook photo from 30 years ago. Right.
They're changing it. They're not filing a lawsuit.
Right.
They're just giving in because they're like, oh yeah, that exists. Yeah, that's a bad look. Let's try to get ahead of this. Let's just screw it. We're done.
Well, Mahonison, I haven't heard a thing. Like, I'm a parent in the Mahonison district, and we get stuff once in a while. We're going to be voting on this and doing this, and we're going to vote. Like, we're going to round table mascots. Like, it's been 2 years. What are you round tabling? Like, give us an option for a mascot at this point. Like, Ravenna did it pretty quick. Like, all right, this isn't going to work. We're not going to be the Indians anymore. You can still be a proud Ravenna Indian when they were the Indians in the football program that had like that all stuff that they did around that, but they're the Ravens now. Like
Averill Park, they were, I mean, I wouldn't say they were a holdout per se, but they were one of the later programs to do it. And they're going to be switching over officially starting next school year in September.
Right.
Like you can even, we had Mark Bubniak on here and we discussed it. Like, they went through it the right way. They sat down with the school board and discussed it. They went and talked to other schools who went through the same thing and got their input on how they went about it as far as like a voting process and, getting nominations and all that. Like, there's a right way to do it, and then there's a really wrong way to do it. And like, I don't get, like, Colony, there's another one. Like, they were a holdout for a while.
They changed their whole gym. We were just in their gym Thursday. Literally, the whole gym has changed with Wolfpack and Wolf logos and stuff like that. Like, they just were like, all right, we're just going to do it. Like, everyone's going to be mad about it, but we're going to do it.
Perfect time for it to happen because they had that renovation plan for 3 years to the gym.
Right.
And then this all just kind of happened just in complete happenstance at the same time.
Yep.
And now you
wouldn't even know. Everything's wrapped.
in the end.
You wouldn't even walk in there. You're like, all right, well, they've always been the wolf pack. Like, whatever.
No, they saved money in the end because they don't have to change everything. They're already changing everything anyways.
Right.
Like it's ridiculous. And I get like I remember my boy D Scott from Jams 96.3. He's a Colony grad, and he was kind of saying the same thing that we're saying right now. He was saying it back when the news officially came out around the time of sectionals last year that they voted in Wolfpack as the new school name. He was like, chill. Nothing's changing except some letters and a picture. Like, it's still Colony. It's still the same school. It's still the same community. Nothing's changing except for a name.
Right.
Oh, it is in the end. And people are still being all uptight about it to this day. And I get it, especially if you were a graduate of Colony. I get it. If you're all rah Raiders, okay, fine. Rah Garnet Raiders. Good for you. But in the end, you're supporting the community, not a name. That's what it is.
Yep.
And people just don't understand that.
It's silly to me, but I don't know. If they changed Cannoneers, I don't know. Like, being from Waterville Elite, like we was Cannoneers because they made cannons in the city. Like that was with the arsenal being there. Like if they changed it, they change it. Like I don't know.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. It's like the wild west out there right now with.
There's not a right answer. Like the athletic directors now, it's the toughest job they've ever had. Like they have to deal with everything. Like it's just it's not it can't be an easy job. You're literally.
There is a right answer. There is a right answer. You just got to go about the right way of getting to the right answer.
Yeah, right.
Like and not trip over your own feet doing it. Form a committee if you have to. Get community input. Get student input.
Right.
You want to really win the community over? Give the options to the student body. Give them a week to vote on it.
Right.
Give them your different once you have a nickname, present 3 or 4 student created logos. Have them vote on the student logos for a week. There's a right way of going about things that doesn't make it look so political.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. April Park did that. They had the student body voting on it along with the community. It's not that hard. It's
the associated cost, I think, is a big thing too. But again, they gave them time. Like in the documents, you have a certain amount of time to make the change to everything. Now at this point, if you don't change it, you're making that timeline smaller and smaller to be able to change things on the court or things on the turf, things that cost a lot of money to change. So,
and I'm gonna touch on this point one more time. Ravenna and Cambridge and Schoharie, not exactly big budgets.
No,
they went and did it. They had no problem with it. They afforded it.
Yeah, I've looked at Niskuna houses. The taxes in the town of Niskuna, they're not cheap. They're not cheap.
Yeah, you can't cry poor over. You can't use finances as a reason. It's impossible. If you're Niskuna and Shenandoah, and I know Shenandoah's not dragging their feet on it anymore, they're doing it. Like you can't cry wolf on this one when it comes to finances. It's inexcusable. It's irrational. It's completely irrational. Last thing I want to bring up. So again, if you know me, you know I'm a proud, now almost 20-year graduate of Christian Brothers Academy in Albany. Yes, I just kind of aged myself, but whatever. It's all good. Class of 2005. And I'm proud that for the first time since graduating, I'll be working the score table of a CBA basketball game this coming weekend, Sunday the 15th at UAlbany, as part of the Coaches versus Cancer event that Eric Medved has put on the last few years. Now we're expanding. We got 5 different sites overall between the 2 weekends, I think. This first weekend coming up, we got action at Hudson Valley for a Tamarack doubleheader against Waterford on Friday night. We have 8 games, I think, on Saturday, all at Hudson Valley. And then we have a full day slate at both Hudson Valley and UAlbany on Sunday. And LaSalle. I think LaSalle is also that day for some freshman and JV games. Then the following weekend, Saturday, we're all day at Union. And then we have a night doubleheader at Siena. Sunday, we're all day at Union and Siena as well. Sunday, the 22nd, all day at Union and Siena. But CBA Albany just lost to CBA Syracuse on a Hail Mary at the end of the Class AA Super Bowl for football. And naturally, what comes up in the paper Saturday morning, day of the game, front, not sports page, front of the A section in the Times-Union. I will show it quickly as a bottom headline. It's probably blurred out because I'm blurring out the background. Yeah, it is. So I'll just read it. Bill proposes split between public and private prep playoffs. This article from Lucy Hodgman, and I apologize if I said your last name wrong, Lucy. I really do. Goes on to, thankfully, there's no opinion given one way or the other by Lucy. So I thank you for that, Lucy, for starters. But she basically lays out how an assemblyman, pardon me, I'll get the name and location exactly. Assemblyman Matt Slater from the New York State Assembly from Yorktown. So that's what, like Section 1 area, I'm guessing?
Yep.
Section 1, Section 9, something like that. Introduced this bill, and this was introduced, I believe, like back in the spring, like around the time of the state tournament, I think.
Yep.
Basically has put in a proposition where the 71 private high schools across the 5 divisions, it's really 6 now, Lucy. You could have done a little more homework. There's a AAA now, but I'm not going to hold it against you because AAA, I don't think has any private schools right now. I could be wrong. I think Green Tech and CBA are both AA on the boys' side. I'll double check that. But there's really 6 divisions now. Just a heads up. But anyways, so basically, the long and short of it is, and I bring this up particularly also because Cap is a private school coach. Essentially, private and public schools, yeah, you can play each other during the regular season. When it comes for sectionals, we're going to totally split you apart. Basically having private school playoffs and public school playoffs, meaning you're now going to stretch thinner the referee shortage that already exists in New York State, and you're going to stretch thinner the choices for site locations, because I'm assuming you're going to run the playoffs at the same time between public and private. And there's quotes in here from Assemblyman Slater in support of the bill, and then Robert Zayas, the president, the leader of the State Public High School Athletic Association, basically saying that it's kind of ridiculous, but we're having hearings about it anyways behind closed doors to discuss the issue with people within the association. So let me be blunt. This is probably the dumbest idea I've heard in a long time from a politician that is trying to get involved in sports. And it's funny because, and it's going to get semi-political for a second. If y'all remember, especially around COVID-ish time, was the real push for the Black Lives Matter movement, and eventually, has become other movements. There was the Me Too campaign as well, around the same time-ish. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong on this. Certain politicians, state and national alike, were basically telling the athletes speaking out about these movements, and I'll use one specific quote, to shut up and dribble. Basically telling these athletes to stay in their lane and not comment on politics in this country. That's funny, because now you're trying to impart your opinions in athletics. So I'm going to say to you, shut up and keep making dumb laws for things outside of sports. Aside from maybe a few crybaby administrators for public schools in sections outside of Section 2, I don't know what the problem is. Because like 20 years ago, I know a lot of people were having issues about like CBA and LaSalle and Albany Academy getting talent that was transferring in without penalty. They've since addressed that with new transfer rules in Section 2 and in the State Athletic Association, as far as transferring public to private or private to private or whatever it may be. It's not perfect. It never will be perfect. Just like the transfer portal in college is not perfect. It never will be perfect because it is what it is at this point. If you have a real problem with private schools being good at certain sports, I have a recommendation. Get better coaches, get better trainers, get a better athletic director. Just how about be better, period. Like you can't blame your inadequacies on other school districts or other institutions because, lack of a better phrase, you stink and they don't. And I hate being this blunt about it, but it's the honest truth. And I know Cap is in lockstep with me on this as far as like the transfer rule is one thing. It's done its job, and I think it's done it pretty efficiently, to be quite frank. There's certain situations where it could be better translated, but all in all, it's done a fairly good job of leveling the field in certain ways. But this is 5-star, bold, asterisk, underline, italicized, dumb. Cap, your thoughts, because I'm pretty sure you're in the same boat as me on this.
The toughest. I mean, I'm not going to say much in terms, but it's just tough. Like it's the fourth of the athlete, right? Like you're getting, and instead of writing that article too, like it's 100 athletes for some of these schools that they have, and then they're making them compete at like look at CBA. I don't know how many boys go to CBA right now, but they're making them compete in the AA. Like
the high school is in the ballpark, I believe, of 400. The actual, I think I have the numbers here. No, I have the girls' numbers in front of me. I could pull up the boys. The school overall, including middle schools, I want to say the 550 range. Don't quote me. So
I don't know. It's just tough. Like I see where both people are coming from, saying they don't want to. It always comes down to like it's not just about sports. If people would just figure that out, people aren't going to CBA just like they're going for the education and their experience, and their parents have gone there, and their uncles have gone there, and their grandfathers have gone there. Like everyone has a tradition of some sort that have gone to these schools. Like,
and not for nothing, they have a budding STEM program in recent years. Just
right, like there's these programs that are just available that smaller class sizes and just like stuff that just gets overlooked. It's just it's overlooked because the team is good at something like that. It just, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to, especially the boys' side. Like it's tough to see the boys' side because some of our best teams are all private schools on the boys' side, like all of them. Like in terms of it, and it's multiple sports too. It's not just one. It's basketball. It's football. It's because the kids want to be around kids that are like them, right? Like they want to be around kids that want to really excel in athletics and academics. And they end up in the same place together. Like, it is what it is on that side of the boys' side.
So let me give you some numbers behind this. So in basketball specifically, because basketball actually has a AAA, CBA is AAA. They are one of 4, 5, 6. They are one of 9 schools listed for AAA on the boys' basketball side. They and Green Tech are the 2 private schools out of the 9 in that. Would you like to guess a range for the enrollments at both of those schools?
I think Green Tech's got to be in the 200s. And like you said, CBA, maybe their pool number, maybe 350, 400.
All right. So they have the listed enrollments for both schools as 564 for CBA, which must be including the middle school. But
it includes eligible athletes, which wouldn't be varsity athletes, but still.
Correct. And then Green Tech High Charter Schools listed as 576. Would you like to know the next lowest enrollment in AAA?
I mean, 900s?
It would be Guilderland at 1,116, followed closely by Colony Central at 1,155. These are schools with half the enrollment we're talking about. And you're crying spilled milk at this point. Like
Syracuse wrote the same article about the football, and then there was someone wanted to know when's the public school championship. Like, well, this is the public school championship. I don't like. There's a fee and there's a dues that are paid to be in the league.
You know what's funny is that there was a school that has been fighting this issue for years. That got to a point where they just said, well, screw the high school association. We'll just be independent and we'll schedule some Section 2 schools within the schedules of our sports that we feel like are good competition. I would like to guess who that school is, Brian Capitula.
Albany Academy boys.
That would be correct. Because there was a point pre-Brian Fruscio on the boys basketball side specifically I'll discuss, where they said, oh, you hate the fact we're so good? Well, screw you. We're leaving the association. And they became independent. And guess what they did in the independence? They've been killing it ever since. I mean, like, at this point, you might as well just say, hey, you know what? All you private schools who are still in the high school, the athletic association, just join the prep leagues like Albany Academy did. Because that's essentially what you're trying to do. You're essentially trying to say, hey, CBA, Green Tech, go join, what is it for football? The New England Prep League that the Academy's in?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, our 8-man football team is in Knapsack.
Yeah, go tell LaSalle, by the way, we'll even bring this down a class. LaSalle, they're AA. They have an enrollment of 273 kids. McKeel Christian Academy, also AA. They have a listed enrollment of 60 kids at McKeel Christian. 60. Albany Academy is 248. Why they're listed in here in the Section 2 handbook, I don't know, but they are. They're listed at 248 on the boys' side. The next closest number I'm seeing looks like 710 for Averill Park, 716 for Burt Hills, Ballston Lake, 731 for Mohon, 722 for Queensbury, 731 for South Glens Falls. Are you getting the picture? That's 3-1 to LaSalle. 3-1. To grab a phrase that's been TikToking a lot lately, the math isn't mathing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. This is all just sour grapes, if you ask me. That's literally all this is at this point, is sour grapes. And I don't know how else to address it except for the way I just.
Jeff, if you haven't watched Jeff and Brian's initial preview of the season, go back and watch that and see what Jeff says about what Buffalo is now.
It's a mess.
So if they want, it's the team that came out of Buffalo last year as a AAA had 10 losses. So that was Liverpool's Lancaster's first game was against the team in the regional finals had 10 losses.
It's a mess. Like, if you want Section 2 to become the Wild Wild West, let your state assemblyman pass this bill. That's all I'm going to say. Because all you got to do is, like Cap just said, go talk to the peeps in Buffalo. If you think the college transfer portal is bad, go talk to the people in Buffalo. It's bad. Real bad. So, in my opinion, Section 2 peeps, y'all got it made. So I don't know what there's any. I'm not saying that people in Section 2 specifically are crying about this, but I know I've heard in the past from Section 2 people, especially when I was at CBA 20 years ago, when I was helping out at Academy a few years ago with Brian Fruscio and Mike Long Jr. and Pat Fillion. It's never ending. It's never ending. Yeah. I hate to think what people will say in 3 to 5 years when the LaSalle girls basketball program is legit. Like,
right.
They're getting there now.
For sure.
He's a really good player for them.
Yeah.
Within 3 to 5 years when they've established their brand and built on it from that point.
They can get the size of Troy, right? Like they can get the Troy district of kids. How big is that district? It's huge.
Like Catholic Central's not in Troy anymore. They're going to be delving into the Latham Colony Albany pool now at this point. Because they're in this old St. Ambrose school on like the Latham, Loudonville. Who knows what their mailing addresses are?
Right.
But they're literally down the street from Shaker, basically.
Right.
Point. So they'll be dipping way more into that pool now. Maybe even dipping into Shen's pool a little bit if they want to bust in from Clifton Park.
Sure.
Like sour grapes, spilled milk, whatever you want to label it. That's what this is. So assemblyman, stay in your lane. Okay. We don't have to shut up and dribble anymore. You need to shut up and pass effective laws that mean something to the communities that you're serving. So that's where I'm at. And I'm done being angry because I want to be happy because I got a lot to talk about with Jeff Moliner from Empire State Takeover in part 2 of this show. And I want to be happy at the dinner table because I haven't had dinner yet. And I don't feel like being hangry. So anything else you want to add, Cap, before we wrap this up?
No, I'm good. What did I watch yesterday? Obviously I watched, but the basketball games, they had basketball games yesterday in Brooklyn. They had Iowa play, and then UConn. Iowa played Tennessee, and then UConn played afterwards against Louisville.
Right.
Louisville. They were well attended. It's weird too, right? Like I've watched a bunch of the girls' games, and I've watched like you could count the amount of girls, amount of people at girls' games this like on TV. And then I went to Siena UAlbany this weekend, which was a great game for Siena to play with. I mean, they're down to 7 players where they had an open tryout. Hey, who played basketball before? Come be a Division I player if you've ever played before. They're down to 7. They beat a 7-0 UAlbany team. Pretty handed. Like it was never really close. Like to be honest with you, watching the game, being there, but the atmosphere was great. I mean, the place was close to being sold out, which is great. It just shows you the support around here for that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, and obviously, you know, we have ties to both programs on here, but y'all did it. Congrats, Siena. Well done. Salute to Coach Prim, because, you know, if you're able to get a 7-girl squad to get up and play like that against your in-city rival, who was out to a blazing start already, I mean, that's a statement. So, congrats, Coach Prim. Congrats to Anijah Jackson. Baby went off.
she did.
And really carried that squad against Albany. And yeah, hopefully this is a sign of things to come, because they will get healthier eventually.
Yep.
They're not going to get everyone back because they do have 3 down for the year. But the nagging injuries eventually go away for a couple of those other girls that are on the IL right now. So
it's the power of the show, right? You had Coach Prim on, and Coach Rosales, I texted probably 25, 35 minutes before the game, like maybe an hour before the game, like, hey, good luck, and responded. It's the power of the show that put Siena over the top.
The power of the show. Yeah.
So we had the coaches on. We had the players on, right? They had the players of UAlbany on, but
yeah,
no coaches yet. So
yeah, just Terry. Terry's the only coach that I've had on from any of the local schools so far. So yeah, but we're 10 toes deep right now in Section 2 ball. So I don't know if we're gonna be really getting.
Oh, there's so much college. There's gonna be 48 hours to the first games for a lot of teams. So
yeah, so so that does it for part 1 of episode 36 for 84 Feet with Cady and Cap. Obviously stick around for part 2 to come with me and Jeff Moliner. We're gonna be recapping this past week, previewing this week, the week of December 9th through the 15th. And yeah, Cap, good luck with Voorheesville, because I know you got them opening your season on Tuesday the 10th, and then I believe you're at Ravenna on the 13th, correct?
I think Ravenna or Ichabod maybe.
Ichabod,
yeah.
Yeah, so you got Voorheesville and Ravenna coming up. Excuse me, Voorheesville and Ravenna this week. Then you have Ichabod on the 17th. So yeah, good luck with those first 2 games. Say hi to our boy T-Flow when you see him at Voorheesville on the 10th.
Will do.
All right, man. Be good, and for everyone, that's part 1. Part 2, be on the lookout for it. In the meantime, follow us on X at 84 Feet Podcast. Follow us on Facebook, 84 Feet with Cady and Cap. And yeah, follow the YouTube page. Subscribe to the channel. Put on the notification bell so you know when new great episodes like this are dropping hot. That being said, toodles, adios.